Hey, what's going on YouTube? Ross here, coming at you guys with a brand new video. And guys, I hope the mic audio sounds a little bit better. I've been messing with some settings and I think it might have figured it out. But let's jump into what we're talking about. Clearly, as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, I'm going to be talking about my trip to Canada. And before I get into all that, I just want to say that in the background is just some gameplay I just recorded. I'm recording the audio separately because I just want to. I feel like I'd rather focus on the game more than talk about like a certain subject whenever I'm playing. So I just decided to record pre-record some gameplay and then record the audio. But anyways, let's jump into my trip to Canada. So I left about it was nearly a month ago. A month ago tomorrow is when I left. And I was there for about 3 weeks. And guys, I tell you what, yeah, I went last year. It was an amazing time, and I went this year, and it was an amazing time. The difference between last year and this year, though, was I kind of like planned on vlogging and stuff when I was there last year, and it didn't really work out clearly because like those of you that were around at the time know that I just kind of stopped YouTube and I didn't get back into it until about like 6-7 months ago, and so I went to Canada this year, and I was up there working. And those of you that don't know, I work for a BMX camp, bicycle motocross, basically motocross on bikes. Besides the point, so I work for a BMX camp. We train little kids. It's probably one of the biggest ones in North America. We train little kids. We teach them how to ride their bikes or how to get better on their bikes. But I got to see some amazing things, same as last year. We toured through Alberta and British Columbia, and we went to Edmonton, Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, and Kelowna, British Columbia. And guys, British Columbia is gorgeous. The Canadian Rockies, amazing. Like, I've seen some great things. I'm gonna put some pictures up like right now, just kind of let them flip through. Kind of some pictures I've taken with my camera. I'm very heavy into photography a little bit. I've kind of been dabbling with it a lot more. I kind of want to get super into it, get good with it. It's another passion of mine that I have that has recently grown on me besides YouTube. But yeah, so my trip to Canada. Where do I start off? So my trip there. Let's start with that. I was originally scheduled to leave. I'm from Kansas. I was originally scheduled to leave Kansas City at 7 in the morning and then land in Seattle at like 9, and then go to leave Seattle a couple hours later, and then land in Edmonton about 1 o'clock. And that did not go as planned. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I'm not gonna spill too much out, but let's say that some things changed. I left Kansas City at 7 in the morning, landed in Seattle at 9 a.m. and I didn't leave Seattle till 9:25 p.m. and I hated every moment of it. I was there in that airport for 12 hours, guys. I was going insane at one point, I thought. But I landed in Edmonton about 12:30. It took me about 15 more minutes to get through customs, and my buddy picked me up, and I stayed at his house. I was so tired, guys. I didn't sleep at all in the airport. I was so tired. I slept from 2 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. I slept for 11 hours. I had never slept that long before, ever. That was the longest I'd ever slept. And I was so caught up on sleeping, though, I felt like $1 million. Like, so caught up. But, yeah. So the first stop was in Edmonton, taught our camp 4 days, and then we loaded up and headed to British Columbia. And on our way through British Columbia, it was a lot of sightseeing. We saw some great things, like the Canadian Rockies is something that I will never forget and will always remember. I'd love to go back and just pour through there. Like, it's awesome. The mountains are great. It's a completely different atmosphere in Canada. It's like usually like almost 100 every day here, or over 100 every day in Kansas. And in Canada, it's like 75, like 80, like max most of the time. I think we hit 90 at one time we were there. But yeah, it does get it doesn't in British Columbia it got a little bit hot, but wasn't too bad. It was more of like a drier heat, so it wasn't that bad. In Alberta, whenever it gets hot, it gets pretty muggy, and so that's kind of. But and the mosquitoes are awful in Edmonton. They're bad. But yeah, so we stayed in a hotel in both those places. We stayed in like a decently nice hotel on our way back to Alberta to go into Calgary, and then we ended up staying in trailers in Calgary and like motorhomes, and that was awesome. That was awesome. Like, I'm glad we did that. It was so much easier for us. Like when we were there, just chilling. We got to go some places. So I don't know if you guys know, but in Alberta and in Calgary, there's something called the Stampede, and that happens every year. It's a very big time. It happens every time we're there. We're always there for the last weekend of Stampede. It's like 2-week process, 2-3 weeks, and we're always there for the last weekend. And I finally went this year, and guys, it was awesome. It's basically, those of you that are from the States, it's basically a huge state fair times 3. Like it's big. Like all kinds of rides. They have all kinds of venues, all kinds of like live music, and then they have beer gardens and stuff. It's big. And then they have like a big rodeo. Excuse me. But anyways, and I got to go to that this year, and that was an experience. I had a great time there. Met some people. Had a good time with my buddies. You know, I wasn't 18, so I couldn't drink, but it's whatever. Like I'll be 18 next year. I'm not sure if I'm going back, but we'll see. But yeah, guys, so Canada. And then let's talk about my trip home. My trip home was not, like, very fun. So it's about a day before, like, yeah, the day before I'm going to fly out. My mom was like, hey, you need to check in your flight. I'm like, okay. And she goes and checks up on it. She's like, your flight's canceled. Like, what? Like, we had no idea. There was no sign of bad weather, nothing. Like, it was clear skies the day I flew out. And she's like, yeah, your flight's canceled. She's like, I'm gonna look into it. And she goes and looks into it, and they wouldn't tell her anything. Like, no one ever told her, like, why it was canceled. But they got me onto a different airline, and I flew out. I was scheduled to fly out of there at, like, 5-something. No. What time was I scheduled? I was scheduled to fly out at 6:14. My plane was gonna leave. I get to the airport at 4:15, and then I check my bag in, check my bike in, and then go to TSA. Guys, I stood in the TSA line for over an hour. It was the worst experience I've ever had in an airport. The worst, hands down. Never will forget that. Never want to experience that again. It was so bad. Standing there for like over an hour. I get to my plane. I get to my gate, and I'm standing in line to board for 7 minutes, and then we board and leave. I was expected to have like an hour layover in Denver when I landed, and I was there for maybe 30 minutes, boarded, and left. I think my flight landed a little bit late, but still, Denver's huge. Like the airport in Denver is pretty big. And I didn't really compensate for boarding time, but still, like I was there for 30 minutes and boarded the plane and left. But I got home a lot earlier. I wasn't expected to get home until 5 p.m. and I got home at 12:30 p.m. So it was really nice to get home really early. But Canada, guys, it's a great experience. If you guys ever get the chance to travel to Canada, I really recommend it. It's not just a joke. People there are super nice. Like they are like the definition. They fulfill their stereotype. Like it's 100% true. They say sorry a lot. They say a lot of times though, when instead of saying they'll say hey. But I don't know. Great experience. One of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Always will be a great experience. I'm gonna try to go through there as much as I can. But yeah, guys, that was my trip to Canada. It was an amazing experience. I'm gonna try to go back. I would like to go with just some friends and stuff and just go up there to have a good time. Once again, if you guys do ever get the chance to just travel out of the country, I truly recommend it. It's an experience for your life, for a lifetime. So yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.